Today, I'm going to share with you a simple strategy that you can implement tomorrow, especially being in the bear market. It has been showing up more often than it was in a bull market. Now, with that being said, it does show up in a bull market as well. I've been trading it for quite some time, but in a bear market, it shows up a lot more frequently. So if you like this type of content, because I'm going to dive into deep why I traded it, what the big picture was, where my risk was, what my plan was in detail, and then show you the trade and the executions. If you like that, share it with another friend or colleague. And if you can, subscribe and like the show. Let's get started. So the stock that we're going to be talking about today is Tesla. And Tesla is not an exception to the overall market. It is indeed in a bear market itself. It has been breaking lows, setting lower highs, and just been consolidating and breaking down. So because of that, the big picture is important to me. I need to find out what is happening. And initially, I can see that we are setting lower highs and we're breaking consolidation zones. As you can see, we set a high at 1243, came down, set a lower high, came down, broke the support, came down here, set another double top at a lower high area, broke the previous support, and we just keep coming down even further. We had a rally come up, but it was still a lower high. So I want to see what is the big picture telling me, because that's super important. If I know that it's weak, I need to know that, hey, I need to follow the trend. I want to be with the trend. Sometimes I will go long, but in this case, when we zoom in on the daily chart, you'll see that we're still fading. We're still fading. We have lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, right? That's important. I need to know what is happening in this stock every single day. What is the market sentiment? How is the big picture going to affect intraday's price action, which we're about to get into. I want to take this time to say thank you to our sponsor, Cobra Trading. Cobra Trading is the go-to broker for day traders and short sellers. And I'm not the only one saying this. In fact, Benzinga awarded Cobra Trading as the go-to broker for short selling. They have a heavy focus on direct market access order routing, so you have the fastest execution. They have some of the best locate prices and availability. They also have amazing customer service. I've experienced many different brokers, and it's why I use them every single day and why I'm proud to have them as our sponsor. Sign up now by clicking the Be the Trader referral link below and earn 1 free month of software with Cobra and 25% off all commissions. Now let's get back to the show. Overall, we're in a bear market, so I'm going to be more leaning towards the short side, especially if I see a short setup, because if there is, and I have the overall market in my favor, well, you all here follow the trend, or the trend is your friend. That's what I'm doing in this case. So if we go ahead and zoom in, we go to the 4 hour, you can clearly see I drew these levels out already, that when we broke down and then popped up and came back down, we held this level of this 690. We'll call it 690s. Let me start that part over. So when you zoom in on the 4 hour, you'll see that this level right here is very important. We held this level, and remember on the daily chart, if I zoom back out, remember this level that we talked about. We held this level, rallied, came back down, held it again, then broke it, right? So that's where we're at when we zoom in. We broke that level, reclaimed it, so that's important. Support has been broken, and then we reclaim that level. So I want to see, do we test it and hold as support, which means we could become a long, or do we break it and indeed become still resistance? Because support becomes resistance. In this case, we held it on this drop right here, and then we held it again, and then we held it again, and then we broke. So this is showing me that we're still in a bear market, we're still breaking lows, it is not going to be holding up. And then when you go down further, and on this past week, you'll see that it held and then broke again. So what am I thinking? I'm thinking this is a level of interest. Big picture, it's an important level. When we zoom back out, you see it's a very important level. Let's make it a gold level. And so that way you can see clearly that that level was very significant on the big picture and intraday and the 4 hour, the 30-minute, and so on. That's something I want to see. Now, as we zoom in further in, because we're going to be trading today, right? I'm trading today's action because I am a day trader. When you notice that it actually acted as resistance on this day, popped up at the open at resistance on this day, again, we're seeing that it is indeed acting as resistance. So that's something I want to notify myself and put an alert. So at the open, when I see this come up to this area, I want to be notified. I want an alert to tell me, Alex, this is an opportunity that could be setting up. So you want to pay attention, because overall, the big picture, we're in a bear market. Overall, this is a key golden support / resistance line now. And so I want to see what happens. I don't want to just short blindly because it hits that, because it could indeed cause me to have a lot of frustration. But I do want to be aware that it's significant. You'll see this line down here, 656. I drew this because it's also a significant line. We held, after we had this little panic, we held this area, which also consolidation here, and this 2 other days where it popped up. So this is a significant area. If you're curious about how to draw these lines, let me know in the comments below, and I'll make a whole video about how I draw my support and resistance line in detail. But I really want to get into the pattern itself today, go into how I traded it, so that way those who are aware, they can learn right now. And if you're not aware, just comment below like I said, and you'll still get some value from this video, from seeing how I traded it and what I need to see. Because it's not as simple as just resistance short, because if it was that simple, we'd all be great traders. But that's not the case. Now when I zoom in on the 10-minute, what I'm looking at on this day, because this is the day I traded on this day right here. What I'm noticing is that we open up down here and then 670. So I want to see it rally to the resistance line. So I actually put an alert at this line at 688 to notify me if it gets there. So that way I'm not sitting there staring at my screen hoping that it gets there, right? Or taking a trade before it gets there, because I want it to tell me, hey, we're there. This is significant. Now watch. Now, once it hit this level, I zoom into the 1 minute because I really want to see what's happening here. Initially, I don't like it. I don't take a short because at first we're pretty strong. We're rallying. You see this trend line forming. You have a low, a higher low, a higher low. So that right there is bullish to me, right? Intraday, it's bullish. But big picture, I'm thinking we're still bearish. And we know this is a significant level. But I still need to understand what's happening right now, because the bulls intraday could overcome this level. So I need to pay attention to that. And so when we break above this with significant volume, I'm just going to be aware that, hey, I need to pay attention. I want to see some type of pattern. And this is what I'm talking about. These patterns are very important. So we look at the big picture for key levels, and then I'm looking for a pattern intraday. And the pattern intraday are 2 different patterns. And I love when I see 2 different patterns, because 1 pattern is great, 2 is even better, and 3 is even better, right? Number 1, big picture pattern, heavy resistance. Number 2, we have a pattern of bulls holding trend, right? So I don't really want to go in full size until this trend breaks, right? And on top of that, we don't, at this point right here, we don't really have a pattern forming. But if we go further out, we now have a double top. You see this wick right here, this hammer candle, this reverse candle right here? This right here is a reverse hammer. I get it. You know, some people are gonna be like, that's not a hammer. It's a reverse hammer. I don't care what you call it. I just know that it's a candle that shows me weakness. It tried to squeeze and go above high a day, and we wicked and we could not. So I took an entry on this candle whenever I noticed that, just half size, because I'm thinking, okay, here's my risk. We clearly couldn't break above that. And so if it breaks above that, I'm getting out. But I didn't want to go full size yet. And here's why. Because we still have this intraday trend. And so because we have this trend, I need to wait until it breaks. And when it looks like it's going to break, I'm getting in full size. And if it pops back up, I may even add more size. But in this case, when it breaks this level, I hit it again with the rest of my position and then write it down and start covering. I covered a piece at this key area because this area held before a rally. This area held before a rally, as you can see, because here, before this rally happened, you can see here, before this rally happened, it actually held support and then rallied. That's an important level to me. So I covered some there, and then I covered a little bit too much, to be honest. You know, all around this area, there's chop, because here's something you need to know. Today is July 1st. Before a 3-day weekend, we are closed on July 4th, which is Monday. Usually stocks act a little different. There's not as many traders. The volume's not as much. And so I'm just going to take my gains when I have them. And I took a lot right here, and then I ended up holding the rest for low a day, which was my main target, because again, before we had a rally, this was the low a day, and then we rallied. So I'm going to cover at this key area, and that concluded the trade. Now, I want to show you something. Here's the chart itself, and I actually have detailed notes right here for you to read on how I traded it and why I traded it. But this video already explains that. But if you're curious on where I post all these, I actually have a Discord room that's completely free, and we post all of our chart recaps all right here. And you can see I put details, what I traded, big picture, why I traded it, and intraday, which I'm showing you right now. And that's something that I want you guys to understand. If you're interested in that, check the description below. It is not a chat room service. It is a lounge. It's for like-minded traders who are focused on process only and not profits, just process. So if you're interested in flexing all that, don't join because we will ban you right away. But if you're interested, link below as I mentioned. But again, I want to review this very thoroughly for you right now. Here's what has to happen. Number one, I need to know, what is the big picture telling me? What is the market sentiment saying? Are we in a bear market? Okay. Number two, where are the key levels of resistance and support? Which are these lines? As I mentioned before, which are these lines? As I mentioned before. Number three, what is the intraday pattern telling me? That we are having a trend line, right? And then we have a double top. Like I want to see, what is intraday pattern telling me? And then what is my entry trigger? My trigger is the double top pattern. And then my other trigger for the rest of my position is the trend line crack. So if you're enjoying this type of content, again, like, subscribe, and share the show with someone else. And again, I appreciate all of y'all, and take care.